What's up, guys? I'm back here with another college football weekly picks video. It's already week 10. You better hit the like and subscribe button if you like this stuff and want to see more of it. Guys, the season's rolling by really quickly. November, I think, could be a really wild month in college football this season. This week, it certainly has the potential to see multiple upsets. Let's get straight into it. Let's not waste any time. I apologize for missing college football picks last week. I think I went like either 6-4 or 7-3 my picks. I didn't do too, I didn't do too great, I should say, but that's what it is. Let's get straight into it. By the way, the rankings I'm using in this video from here on out will be the BCS playoff rankings. So let's get started here. We start things off in New Jersey with Rutgers hosting #1 Ohio State. There's some controversy with the rankings, obviously. Ohio State being #1 is actually fine because they have the best resume. Florida State should have been #2 in my opinion, but whatever, the committee sucks ass anyway. Ohio State's laying 18.5 on the road. It's as simple as this. Rutgers does not have the offense to keep up with Ohio State. Rutgers' defensive numbers kind of stand out a bit. They limit under 200 yards passing per game, but I think with Ohio State, the thing is though, their offense has been having a tendency to be slow at times a bit, especially in the first half. Against Wisconsin, they did not look great in that game for sure, but they're getting it done. Their defense is the best it's been in a while, and I actually like Ohio State to actually run away much more in this game than last week. Wisconsin was at home. Wisconsin's a better team. Yeah, I would say Wisconsin's better than Rutgers in ways, but could it be similar to that? Yeah, maybe, but I like Ohio State to run away. Maybe slow first half. Probably the usual that Ohio State's been going through this season, but Rutgers does not have the offensive firepower, especially with they don't have the same receiving core. Next up, one of the biggest games of the week here. Let's head on down to Texas, where #7 Texas is hosting #23 Kansas State. Texas is currently -4. The big question, how's Texas's offense going to continue to hold up without Quinn Ewers? Quinn Ewers is out for a little bit of time, of course, with the shoulder injury. Let's talk about some stats of these games. I'm going to have some insights for you, especially going forward some of these games. Texas is 4-4 against the spread this year, and they're 3-4 against the spread when they're favored by 4 or more points. So history tells us in the season, Texas may potentially not cover the spread. 2 of their 8 games have set total have hit the over. Now Texas is 27th total defense. But from an offensive standpoint, Texas ranks 35th in general with 274 passing yards per game. Their defense is 70th in passing yards allowed per contest. So they give up a little bit in the pass department. When you look at Kansas State, the last couple of weeks, Kansas State's offense has been on a bit of a resurgence. The running game has been absolutely ridiculous. Will Howard's been playing better. Texas, though, is the 15th best in the country with their run defense. They do not allow more than 98 rushing yards per game. Of course, slew of players from Texas that makes the wheel turn basically smoothly. Or I'm losing my train of thought there. Kansas State is 6-2 against the spread. Kansas State games have gone over the point total in 4 of 8 opportunities. I would honestly take the over in this game personally. Kansas State's offense is 15th best in the nation in terms of total yardage. In terms of defense, they are 45th. Now, Kansas is 13th best in points per game and 14th best in opponent points per game. Kansas State is one of the best at stopping the run. Last time I did, last video I believe it was, or the video before that, I mentioned Kansas State's run defense was the best in the Big 12. Arguably, it could be Texas's as well. So it's gonna be a close one here. Kansas State, Texas. Kansas State's gonna show Texas their ways in terms of the game that Texas hasn't quite faced a bit this year. You know what? I'm gonna take a chance on the upset here. I think Texas without Quinn Ewers, I think they're more vulnerable, especially potential turnovers. Especially this is a real high stakes game. I know it's in Texas. It's risky to pick the road opponent, especially when you're in an environment like this. But the thing is, Texas has a tendency to give things up a bit, and I think K-State's going to take advantage of it. The question is, is Kansas State going to play clean ball because Texas has forced 13 total turnovers this season, which is 33rd best in the country, and have turned it over 9 times this season. They do have a turnover margin of +4, which is 27th best in college, which is 27th ranked in college football. But all things said, I have K-State upsetting Texas. Next up, we have number 10 Ole Miss hosting Texas A&M. Now, if you've been watching my last couple videos, if you think I'm against Ole Miss, no, not necessarily. I'm not an Ole Miss hater, but I think the writing's on the wall at this point. I think they're due for a loss soon. A&M, their offense, kind of a bit capped at times. Max Johnson does try his best, but their defense is kind of their calling card. But A&M is at risk of missing a bowl game still. They need to win one more game to become bowl eligible. And you know what? I think it happens here. I think this is the game Ole Miss loses. They're ranked 10th in the nation. I think Ole Miss, the only thing that really, in my opinion, has them going is their offense. They could have lost to Auburn in their previous game. They're going to lose. They're going to drop one. They got to face Georgia next week. Then again, though, maybe I should have thought about that a little bit more. But you know what? It is what it is. Maybe Ole Miss wins this game so that they hype that game up. We already know Georgia's going to likely win that game. Kind of a spoiler alert for next week's video. But I'll take a chance on A&M, even though I cannot really trust them on the road with their offense. We had this issue with Tennessee, but Tennessee, it is what it is. I feel like Tennessee and Ole Miss are kind of similar, except Ole Miss can run the ball, especially. So I feel like, because we especially saw the game against LSU, they were able to run it well, but that might be an outlier, of course. Next up, here's a very intriguing game. This game earlier this season looked way bigger than it is now. It's lost considerable value over time. We have Clemson versus number 15 Notre Dame, and I don't have much on this one other than Clemson's in a free fall. And here's the thing, though, their record's a little deceiving, 4-4. You know, part of it, a big part of it's because of turnovers. They have a huge turnover issue. That defense is still pretty good. Will Shipley may not play. That's a huge loss. Excuse me, I apologize about that. Will Shipley is a huge asset to this Clemson offense. And Notre Dame with Audric Estime and Sam Hartman. Last time Sam Hartman faced Clemson, from what I understand, was that double overtime game when he was at Wake Forest. He threw 6 touchdown passes. I actually like Notre Dame to win this game, although it is almost a flip of the coin. Notre Dame's going to really dictate this game in the trenches and in time of possession. Because if Notre Dame can take away time from Clemson, then they really can help their chances to win this game. I wish this was a night game. If this is a night game, I might take Clemson, but I don't know. Tough environment to play in as usual. Next up, we have number 2 Georgia hosting number 12 Missouri. In my opinion, Georgia should have been number 3 or 4 or 5. One of those from anywhere from number 3 to 5 or whatever. But no lower than 4. It's whatever. Georgia is currently favored 15.5. This matchup's pretty interesting. I'm really interested to see how Missouri is going to do against their offense is going to do against this Georgia defense. Georgia's offense, we kind of got a sample of what they were about, even without Brock Bowers, and it was a good sign. But Florida is just not really that good of a team. Missouri's more offensive based, so now you're kind of asking yourself, well, Georgia probably isn't going to be hindered too much on offense, which I don't think they're going to be here. Matter of fact, I have them winning by 11, but I think 15.5 is laying a little bit too much. Some people are forgetting Missouri can really move the ball. And this game against Georgia, this, in my opinion, is actually kind of similar to South Carolina in a way, because South Carolina was able to move the ball at will, and then their offensive line really just came apart in the second half, and they did not score a single point in the second half. I think you're forgetting, though, you can move the ball in this Georgia defense. Obviously, they're not as strong as last year. Some people are really they're just like, oh, Georgia will cover. I'm not really sure about that. I think this could be closer than some people think for a pretty good portion of the game. But ultimately, I think Georgia pulls away. This should be a really good one. Luther Burden, you got to watch for him, especially with Missouri, because they'll be the primary target, obviously, but very interesting one here. Next up, the Battle of Bedlam, the final true Battle of Bedlam here. Um, it's a ranked matchup. I didn't even think it was going to be a ranked matchup. Number 22, Oklahoma State versus number 9, Oklahoma. Currently, OU is favored 6. I have some stats on for you on this one. I definitely wanted to get some stuff out for this one, especially. Let's start with Oklahoma. They're 6-2 against the spread this season. They're 5-2 against the spread when they're favored by 6+. Don't take much into account with that. A lot of that's especially against teams that were not good earlier in the season. 5 of Oklahoma's 8 games have hit the over. Oklahoma has been a top 25 unit on offense. They're thriving on both sides of the ball. They're 4th best in scoring offense and 23rd best in scoring defense. Again, don't take too much into the scoring defense part of it. Oklahoma does rank 90th in pass defense, and Oklahoma State's been throwing the ball very well lately. We'll get to that in a second. But they have the 11th best passing offense in the country. OU does. OU's 34th in run offense, and they're 53rd in run defense. Now, this is where the difference comes into play. Oklahoma's a good third down team, especially on the defensive end. They're 16th best in third down conversion, and they're they're 4th best on third down defense. So third down is going to be a huge difference here, and if Oklahoma State can effectively take advantage of that weaker OU pass defense, Oklahoma has forced the third most turnovers this season in FBS. But Dillon Gabriel that pick 6, that really like Oklahoma kind of handed Kansas that game last week, but in a way, Kansas still won. Let's not sugarcoat it. Real quick, I need to give Oklahoma State props. I've been roasting them the last few weeks. You know what? They're consistently showing that they are much better than they have been. They were at the start of the season. Let's give them some credit. Alan Bowman's been playing very well, and Ollie Gordon is running wild with this team. So, Oklahoma State's defense, though, not great. Here's some stats, though. Oklahoma State 5-2 against the spread. They're 1-0 so far against the spread when they're at least a 6-point underdog. I think that game that they were in a pretty big underdog in, I think that was against Kansas State, if I remember correctly. Oklahoma State's games and has gone over the point total in 4-7. I would bet the over in this game most likely. Oklahoma State is 39th in total yards per contest, but they're only ranked 108th in total defensive yardage allowed, or total yards allowed on the defensive end. Oklahoma State's 47th in points per game, but they're ranked 57th in points allowed per game. Oklahoma State's ranked 32nd in the FBS with in rushing offense, but it gives up 170 yards per contest, so in a run. Now, here's again where the third down thing comes into play. Oklahoma State is only 76th in the country on third down conversion. They're 98th on third down defense. So that's going to be a big key there in this game. So basically, this is going to be a tough game, but you know what? I'm going to have to take Oklahoma State. I think part of it to me is because this is going to be their big FU to Oklahoma for leaving the Big 12 after this season, because I just really think Oklahoma State, they're heating up. OU's kind of teetering, and they might be a little. Were they not all that to begin with? I mean, they beat Texas on a neutral site. That was a very impressive win. But was Oklahoma a little more overrated than we thought? We're going to really get our answer, I think, this Saturday. But this is an exciting game. Do not miss this one. Next up, we have Maryland versus number 11 Penn State. Penn State's -8 on the road. Penn State could lose, but Maryland has looked atrocious. They really lost to Northwestern this past weekend? It was such a bad loss for Maryland. They have not looked right in the last couple of weeks. I think Maryland's offense is going to have trouble against this Penn State defense, but Penn State's offense struggles to get downfield play, especially in their running game. For some reason, it's been a little bit lethargic, but I still like Penn State here. Them covering the 8's a little tricky. That's a tricky spread. I probably wouldn't touch it, to be honest with you, but I think Penn State gets by. Could be a slow one first half. We'll see. Next up, we have Iowa State hosting number 21 Kansas. This is a very interesting matchup. Iowa State's actually the favorite here, and you know what? Yeah, I agree. I think Kansas is due for a pretty big letdown spot here. I don't know a whole lot about Iowa State this year. I just know they have only one conference loss. They haven't really faced the last couple of matchups they've had. They haven't faced really good Big 12 teams. Um, but here's some stuff for you on this game. Iowa State 4-3 against the spread this season. They're a perfect 2-0 against the spread when they're favored by 2.5 or more this season. They've gone over in 3 of its 7 games this season, so less than 50% of their games this season have gone over at least. Defensively, they are a top 25 defense. They rank 25th best in yardage allowed, but they're only 103rd in offense, just general offense. They don't put up a lot of points per game, but they do allow only 19.8 points per game as well. Again, their offense is not as powerful as Kansas's, but their defense makes up for it, especially them being at home. Their turnover margin is the 12th best in college football. It's +7, so um, that's a good sign there, obviously. Um, so basically, Kansas is 4-4 against the spread this year. In games they have played as at least 2.5 point underdogs, they are only 1-1 against the spread. Kansas games have gone over the point total in 5 out of 8 opportunities. But in this one, I'm almost feeling the under in this game, actually. Kansas is 29th in total offense. They give up over 400 total yards per game. They are 18th best in scoring offense. They're 88th in scoring defense. Kansas on the defensive side is a bottom 25 run unit. They are the 25th worst in stopping the run, but they are 12th best in rushing yards, offensive rushing per contest. Um, so yeah, they are also 12th best at third down on the offensive end. So yeah, I don't give a damn who's quarterbacking for Kansas. I think Iowa State's going to strike the win here. Kansas is due for a big letdown. They just had the emotional win against Oklahoma. Iowa State at home. Defensively, I think they really slow down Kansas. Jason Bean ain't going to have much of a big game as he did last week. He might actually turn it over, I think, more than once in this game. Big. This is a really big game here, especially for Washington. Let's go out to LA where number 20 USC is hosting number 5 Washington. Washington is currently favored 3 points. And this is another game I have some stats for you on here, especially. Before I say that, Washington the last couple of weeks has been kind of looking sus. I'm not liking it too much. They need to really pick things up because they have a couple of really tough opponents, especially USC at home. I still wouldn't take them lightly, even at home, even though their defense is horrendously bad. They're a laughing stock, especially. Washington is 3-4-1 against the spread this season. When it has played at least 3-point favorites this season, they're 3-4-1. They have gone over in 4 of its 8 games. So I'm feeling the over in this game. I'll just tell you that right now. Washington, top 25 offense. Their defense ranks 98th in the country. They give up 400 total yards a game. They are the 9th best in scoring offense this season. Washington ranks 16th worst in passing defense. They give up 264.6 passing yards per game. They are the best in passing yards per game at 399. They are a bottom 25 run offense this season. They don't run the ball a lot. They're kind of like Tennessee, but Washington has the stronger offense because Tennessee doesn't run the ball either really. Um, Washington is the 58th best run defense in the country. They allow 136 rushing yards, which is a decent amount. Um, they are only 101st in third down defense. Oh my goodness. USC is only 2-7 against the spread this year. Only 2-7 for USC. USC is 0-1 against the spread when they're an underdog by 3 points or more this season. The other game was Notre Dame. 8 of USC's 9 games have gone over. That just tells you you need to take the over if you're betting. USC has had trouble stopping opposing offenses. They're ranking 20th worst by 421 total yards. They have the 10th best offense though total yardage. They're the 7th best in the passing offense side of things, especially they rank 70th in rushing offense. They give up a lot of yards per game, as we talked about. By the way, they are the 47th best in third down efficiency on offense and 62nd third down defense. So yeah. Also, too, USC's sack rate is better than a lot of teams. They do generate a bit of sacks. So the key here is USC is going to have to get the pass rush going on Michael Penix, and Penix has been kind of shaky the last couple of weeks. I think they get their head right for this game and win this one, but I think this is going to be a complete shootout. This is going to be ridiculous. I've been looking forward to this game for weeks, actually. But I would not be shocked if USC won this game. I actually would be pissed that they win this game because I do not want USC winning. I want Washington to win, but that's not why I'm picking them. I'm picking them because they have more to play for. Penix will get his head right. He cannot turn it over. Washington has got to play a clean game here. If they turn it over, I think they lose this game, so tough one. Next up, we have number 8, Alabama, hosting number 14, LSU. Simple as this, guys. Revenge spot from last year for Alabama. They lost last year. I feel like unexpectedly, I did not think they were going to lose last year, LSU, and LSU stunned them pretty good. LSU does not have a good secondary. Their defense is really bad, honestly, in spots. Alabama is quietly getting up there. Their defense is actually pretty good. You know, there's still worries about Milroe and his ways, especially with passing on the field. But I feel like he's going to mature over time. Now, when it comes to the big games, I'm not sure, though. We'll see how it goes later down the stretch if Alabama were to make the CFP. But Jaden Daniels, I think he's going to get limited in this game a bit, but I do have Alabama winning a closer mid-scoring game, 30-27. At home, Nick Saban is not going to let them lose to LSU 2 years in a row. So, yeah, it should be an interesting game there. And the final game to pick here, folks, Arizona versus number 19 UCLA. You got, Arizona, man, the last few weeks, man, their offense has really looked good. Like they just, like the offensive movement of this team. UCLA, I feel like they're on the road. They're shaky, man. Like they've been kind of shaky on the road this year. Their other quarterback starts. I don't know what to expect. Their defense is supposed to be good, but at times though, their defense just isn't showing up when it's supposed to. Arizona at home after dark. I like Arizona to win this game by like around 10 points. I don't know why, but I'm really liking Arizona right now. They just have looked much better in the last couple of weeks. I think I'm going more based on recent times, but UCLA, they got these tendencies to struggle on offense at times, and I don't trust them. Really don't trust them, actually. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys liked it. I will see you guys in my next video, which will be a college basketball video. Stay tuned for that tomorrow. It's a good one. Can't wait. College basketball starting next week as well. So we got a lot of action coming up. See you guys then.